desperate. Ooh, 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 toy rage. Just got a switch. Way to make the switch. Thank you. Show's over. You're welcome, everybody.
Did you get the Pikachu edition?
Did you get Eevee Pikachu? You better
which one did
say
you get?
Eevee.
You didn't get that?
You better say fucking Eevee.
Bad pun. Thanks. Thanks for my siren. Lord Dankerton, if you had to choose Eevee or Pikachu,
Eevee.
which one would you choose?
Eevee.
I know.
The answer is Eevee.
I want to smash two.
Did you say Eevee? Eevee.
Eevee. There you go.
So
when you're playing with Pikachu in the Pikachu
this is why I drink. This is how I know society is failing.
Look, Lord Dankerton.
Fucking Pikachu.
Andrew doesn't appreciate memes as much as you and I do.
But I do appreciate whiskey.
But do you?
It's not quite Jameson. I just keep on remembering that South Park episode we watched this weekend. And then I remembered why I drink.
Well, Pikachu has one evolution. Here's a fun thing for you. Your Pikachu and Eevee, apparently they can't evolve. No matter which one you do.
Really?
Yeah, like your main one.
So it'll stay a little fuzzball forever?
Yes.
Well, that's all I gotta say about that. Game
that's the
equals garbage.
Oh, we're gonna.
So I can't make it into a Vaporeon?
Yeah.
Or a Flameorion?
No, Flareon.
Or a Zapdon?
No, just stop playing. Stop trying to play.
Or
stop it.
Plantorion? Or a Megalodon?
Please do, Lord Dankerton. Throw a meme up there. I want to be the very best.
I saw the
Toy Rage never was.
I don't. I really don't. Here's my proof. So we're going to tell stories about last weekend, but so Mike and I and a bunch of other dudes. One, it was just a dude fest. It was awesome. Hey Ben, what's going on, man? Two.
I don't think Andrew.
I know nothing about Pokemon. I was asking Mike every 3 seconds, Mike, who's this Pokemon?
Oh my god.
That's a Growlithe. What is he?
Do I learn Double Edge? No, you don't.
Do I learn Double Edge? No.
It's bad. And then
I don't know anything. I don't. It's.
Hi, Natasha.
If I had Natasha. If I had a secret room of Pokemon, that's like the thing that they would find if I was ever on one of those like crime documentary shows. They go through the house and they're like, we didn't even know about this about him. Like that would be a room. I do not have a Pokemon plushie room. I don't even have plushies.
No.
My dog is my plushie. That's the closest thing to a plushie I have.
So
a dog.
How many Pokemon outfits do you have for Layla?
What's 1 minus 1?
2.
And that's why Mike handles the finances.
$5.
$5.
Wow. And there he goes. The cure for cynicism, right there.
The cure for worldly bullshit.
Is that what it is? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Are you trying to say that our show is just worldly bullshit?
Mike, I don't like to say self-evident truths.
I like to plead the fifth.
I don't need to repeat the obvious.
But do you?
No.
Okay. Look.
But hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Toy Rage podcast.
I tried to sing a song.
We did it.
Where's the song? I tried to sing a song.
I did. I sang.
You sang nothing.
That rap song.
You sang nothing, Jon Snow. Oh, Lord
thank you,
provided 2 memes. So go to the Toy Rage Discord.
Dankalicious.
I think if you look up Toy Rage on Twitter.
Because Toy Rage is too bootylicious for you, babe. I don't I don't think anybody's ready for this jelly. There's a lot of jelly going on this screen. Oh my god. There's pounds and pounds of jelly in this podcast. And we're not talking about the good jelly.
We're talking about my stomach.
Hey, you can compound it with mine. That's a lot of jelly.
Excuse me?
Yeah, just rubbing it. Yeah. Jelly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, Lord Dankerton. That's rude. Those memes.
That is rude. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm going to go with Mike. That's rude.
That's rude. Not the first one, the second one. Rude.
Oh.
Rude. But it's a meme, so I approve it. I don't look at it at work, but it is still good. So, Andrew.
Oh my god. That is no good. Mike, you're fired.
For what?
Don't worry about it. Welcome to the Toy Rich Podcast, everybody. The podcast that has no point and the points don't matter. Well, I'm Andrew Delecky, and I'm joined by my friend, my buddy, my pal,
Andrew Delecky.
Yeah, I'm my own best.
We never went to Andrew Delecky's booth.
No.
We done.
Oh,
that.
we didn't. Oh, fuck.
We
are the fucking worst. What is wrong with us?
We went to like.
We are not that
too.
important.
How do
we are not that important to forget these things.
We went to every booth. How did we miss
Andrew
Delecky's booth?
Oh my god!
Wow, you really Delecky'd
You're a dick.
This. You Delecky'd this so hard.
You are a dick. Oh my god! We have to write them an apology and send them a basket of cheese or something.
We do,
because we fucked up.
Oh my god. There was was there whiskey there?
So let's put some background to this this claim of us being just dumb people. Last weekend, Mike and I ventured to the land of the Eagles and cheesesteaks.
Philadelphia.
That's Philadelphia.
Just in case people don't know, Andrew, not everyone knows what Eagles are.
But everybody knows what a cheesesteak is. Even everybody knows what a cheesesteak is. And if you don't, just Google it.
Do you feel bad for someone? Would you feel worse about someone who went into a place and said, "Can I have a Philly cheesesteak in Philadelphia?" or the person who they're with? Who would you feel worse for?
Depends. Is the person that you're with a local or like a native?
They just know you don't say Philly cheesesteak in Philadelphia. We'll just say a native.
No, if it's a native, I would be really awkward. If I'm not a native and I knew about it, then I don't feel awkward. I just get mad. Because it's like you don't say that here. You don't say that here.
You don't say that here. You don't say and then you would have someone who said a Philadelphia cheesesteak.
Oh, that's even worse.
Anyway, look, I digress.
So yeah, we were in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, for PAX Unplugged,
which is awesome.
Oh my god.
What is PAX Unplugged for those who don't know, Andrew?
PAX Unplugged. So for numerous years, everybody has known of PAX, which is probably one of the major video game, board gaming, role-playing game conventions in the United States. And eventually PAX got so big that they had to split it up. They had to split it up between PAX East and PAX West. And then those two got even too big. And they finally said, you know what? We need to make a convention just dedicated to board games, because the board game arena was just getting bigger and bigger. And also, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, not saying that the fandom doesn't overlap, but you definitely see a divide between people that are video gamers and board gamers.
Also, thanks for the share, Ben. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben. But
there is quite the difference between the two. And I think you also forgot PAX South. I think there might be a PAX North, but there's a PAX South.
There's a PAX South now?
Yeah, but also PAX got like incredibly popular, not just with like fans, but also gaming companies, to the point where PAX, I believe, originally was just really about wait, hold on. There's a unicorn.
You just gave Mike a
Andrew, click on the unicorn. Click on the unicorn.
You just gave Mike it exploded out of his butthole. That's what happens after I have too much cheese or milk. Boom! Me too. Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
Wow. I guess on Sesame Street I don't belong.
Well, there you go. You can add that. You can add that question to the FAQs for Toy Rage.
Click on the shoes. They're scary.
What makes your butthole explode?
That's
lactose.
Gonna be the lactose. That's our Saturday night episode. It's called "How Much Lactose Can Andrew Have?"
Oh my God! Before he takes off, before there's enough propulsion to launch him into space,
before he becomes the unicorn. How much? And not the good one.
Oh, is it scary?
Yeah.
Is it scary? Is it scary?
Click on it.
That is scary.
Yo, I like that, but I think the what's it called? I like the unicorn more, but the graveyard is pretty freaking cool because I like spooky stuff.
And I have to say a special thank you to Ben, because Ben, when I visited you guys, I totally drank pretty much half your bottle of whiskey, and I appreciate it. And don't think I didn't. I don't appreciate that. You know what it was, Ben? I wanted to make sure all your employees didn't get too soft so they can go back to work. That's what it was. I was helping. I was a self-regulating HR department at that point.
Hi, my name is Andrew Dalecki, and I want to thank Ben for letting me drink half of his whiskey. Thank you to me for drinking your whiskey. That's the best.
You're welcome.
You're fine. Like, oh my God. What are we talking about?
I don't know, man. What is this show about? What is life?
I don't know. Just drink some more. So we were talking about PAX. And so PAX got like really big, not just with, yeah, there you go,
HP whiskey. That is literally
P whiskey.
My life.
It got really popular, not just with fans, but with gaming companies too, where originally I believe it was supposed to be just really shining on like independent games and indie games, smaller studios and everything. And when I went to PAX East last year, the first thing you see is like you see Blizzard there, you see just huge demo area for Detroit Become Human and other like big major companies when you first go in. Then you see smaller indie companies kind of in the middle, and then in the back you have the board game nerds just like shoved in a corner.
Yeah,
where there was apparently Fireball Island like a year ago. Anyway, so with all these like major companies and everything going to this, the board game aspect of it got so kind of small and crappy that they made PAX Unplugged for it, because there was a huge demand for board games, but you know, just these other companies were kind of impeding on that. And
frankly, the industry was also blowing up. That was the other thing.
That too. Board games. Like, I'm so upset we didn't know about the business panel for board games, that we couldn't get there earlier.
Yeah,
because that was good.
It was very interesting.
Yes, but when you look at Sween Dog, what's up, new dad? When you go, let me just finish making this point too. Let's see, what was I talking about? Board games. So when you go, like, if you look at just like Target, Walmart, and all these other places over the last year, you're not going to find just like
Clue,
not Clue, or like little kid games.
Parcheesi.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, now you're going to find more streamlined games. You're going to find
Catan, Carcassonne.
Is it Carcassonne or Carcassonne?
Carcassonne.
Carcassonne.
Butchering names since.
A big one also was a Ticket to Ride too.
Ticket to Ride, big one.
Which is great. Ticket to Ride is an amazing game.
If you haven't played Ticket to Ride,
Try
Find
me undies.
find
Oh wait,
find somebody that has Ticket to Ride, steal it from them.
Yes.
Find cool people, sit them down in a room, and learn how to play. It's a great game.
Also, if you're also into board games and everything else, there's definitely a lot of people who do board games and everything here on Caffeine. Like, what was it? There's
Board Game Geek or Nerd, board gamer.
No, there's
I don't remember names.
There's like Heavy Cardboard Utopia, I think is one of them. I don't know. There's a couple.
I thought Yellow did some streams at some point too.
Yellow did streams here, and then they I don't know what happened with that. Board Game Corner, which we became friends with, which unfortunately they weren't there. Also, one of the Caffeine employees, Elena, is huge into board games, along with I forgot.
No, but this show is a clusterfuck. Oh!
You're supposed to say this show's a cluster truck.
Oh,
it's.
I guess I have to
take another drink.
Take a drink.
This is your drinking game. Every time you screw up.
This is the drinking. Every time I screw up, I take a drink.
That's why it's almost empty.
I'm gonna be wasted.
So PAX Unplugged. It's a new. I think this is just the second year that it's been running. It takes place in Philadelphia. It is a very spaced out and good board game convention, and also just, I don't want to say board game convention, tabletop convention is way more accurate. Yeah. Board game convention would just suggest that it's just board games.
It's basically non-video game.
Yes.
It's just non-video game there.
The only like video games that were there were physical card games that had video game components or that had a video game version. Like that's it. Like Light Seekers, which looks just like whatever
Hearthstone?
That other. Well, it looks like Hearthstone, but it's like an exact ripoff of like Warhammer Champions, the game that Dan wanted us to play.
Which is also Hearthstone.
Which is everything is Hearthstone. Whatever.
Everything is Hearthstone.
Everything is Hearthstone. Everything is Hearthstone. So
everything is Blizzard when you're part of the team.
Pretty much. So we went there this year. A lot of people. Well, for us, a lot of people. A total of 6 people went, along with a random 7th named Jeff. Just showed up. And we went through a lot of games, and we played a very good amount of games. It was a nice, fun, relaxing weekend, if I had to say.
Yes. I think we should go through at least some of the things we liked, some of the things we didn't like, and definitely the highlighted games.
All right. So, Dark Souls.
Dark Souls. Everybody should pick up Dark Souls if you love torturing yourself for hours on end.
And
with a group of people.
And reading a rule book that doesn't make too much sense about certain things. So
we've never had to ask the developers of a game for so many rules clarification than Dark Souls. And believe me, it was like 2 days in a row of rules clarification.
So we went there we got there Thursday night, and the convention was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sorry, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Friday, Andrew and I come to an agreement that when the night comes, we want to play a game, a campaign kind of style game for a Friday night and Saturday night.
We just needed something to do like after convention hours. So like the expo hours really ended around 6. There were still events going on, but not everybody wanted to do events. No. So we needed something to do after 6 to like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because that was our schedule.
Pretty much. And we could have gone to the convention center, but we kind of wanted to do stuff at the hotel. So we decided to go and pick up Dark Souls. So on Friday, we went there. We were looking at a couple of games. We bought Dark Souls like final decision, like last minute. Like it closed at 6, and we went at like 5:50, like something ridiculous. Yes. And we asked a couple like rules questions about it at that time, and then we asked. I went back the next day and asked more rules questions on Saturday, and then I had to go back and ask more rules questions on Sunday. The game is a lot of fun, and the way it's properly played, you will say to yourself, are you sure this is the way it's properly played?
Yes. So if anybody's ever played the video game, it's a grind. The video game is a giant grind.
It's huge.
It is no different on the board game.
No.
The board game is a giant grind.
Yeah. So we were doing like the first set of missions, which is still pretty tough. So there's level 1 encounters, 2 encounters, level 3 encounters, mini bosses and bosses. And the way the first campaign is set up is level 1 encounter, level 1 encounter, level 2 encounter, mini boss, mini boss. So we go and we clear the first encounter, and then we go back, heal, level up, try to buy some items, whatever. Then we do that like one more time, heal. Then we're able to go and do the 2 level 1 rooms. Then we do the 2 level 1 rooms like 4 or 5 times at least in a row, just leveling up and getting better armor, and just becoming better at what we're doing. Then we jump into the level 2 room. That almost completely sucked. But we were able to go, ran away the first time, beat it the second and third time, and we just repeated that process like 2 or 3 more times. And it took like 3 hours to beat this campaign, at the very least, over 2 nights too. Because the first night we were just trying to figure stuff out. We played with 2 friends that kind of left after that. And when we came back on Saturday night, we just started up brand new. Dan was there. Chris was there. Chris tagged out a little bit earlier. But it was still going on for a couple hours. And even though it was like kind of daunting and annoying, the game, honestly, it's fun. Andrew,
so much fun.
Andrew does not like the video game at all.
No, I don't.
No. But the board
you know
game,
what it is? I think I know why I like the board game so much more.
Why?
The the mental anguish is shared with other people. It's not me sitting by myself crying because the game is so hard.
No,
It's
you enjoy
there's a sense there's a camaraderie of misery.
It's like,
And
you're suffering too.
If you're suffering in a group, it's better than suffering alone.
But that's like for selfish reasons.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with.
You know what? Reasons can be selfish sometimes.
They can be selfish.
They're legitimate reasons.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So if you're looking for a really grind heavy game that honestly you will play multiple sessions of, Dark Souls is a good game to pick up.
Yes.
As far as a board game is concerned.
There's the gameplay mechanics if you know how to properly play, which go find a video. Honestly, after everything we did, I asked them on Sunday, if you guys ever need help demoing the game, pretty sure after 3 days of just asking questions, I can help you guys out.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of possibly later this week or this weekend, just doing a video on how to actually properly play the game.
I think that's a good idea.
Because
maybe we'll get some viewers.
Maybe, God forbid. Well,
yeah. Well. Thank you, TNT. Do you like the back of her head?
Boop, boop. Totally hit the wrong button for a sec.
So Dark Souls is still an A+, even though it's very frustrating.
Yes.
I
think they have an FAQ and a clearer Dark Souls rule book online. Scream with the yes, there's a lot of screaming, like internal, like our friend Jeff who does.
He loves every video. I don't think there's one board game he's ever said I don't like.
Very few.
Except for Dark Souls.
He refuses to play. He's just not man enough. Let's be honest.
He doesn't have the mental fortitude to play Dark Souls.
Reality, he's just too smart to play this game. Like he knows. Wait, no, I'm not doing it. So here's some good news. So they're also doing the Resident Evil 2 board game, which comes out.
The same company.
Same company, Steamforged
cool.
Games. They're doing the Resident Evil 2 board game, and that's coming out in about a month or 2. They said it's going to hopefully release close to the same date as the video game remake, which is end of January. And
that's cool.
They did a lot of listening to people about how bad the Dark Souls rulebook was, where it wasn't terrible, but it didn't have some of the basic board game rulebook things you would expect. Like, for example, there was another guy actually at the booth when I was talking, and he said he did reviews for games too. And I asked him, so when you want to go and you want to know what the turn order is for a game, where's the first place you go? And he said, back of the book. I said, that's the first thing I look at. The back of the book is just like the real quick information place. You know, what's the turn order? Because in the rule book, they never actually go into like proper turn order and how things are handled when you first start the game, after an encounter is done, and whatever else. There's a lot of like good rules in there, but like they skipped over the basic stuff, kind of like the video game. So they went and the guy opened up the production version of Resident Evil 2, and the rule book, just skimming through it on the back is way better than the back of Dark Souls 2. The rulebook is shorter. It has, he was showing us, has much better examples, a lot more visual examples as well, just to stop confusion. Because if you look at the Dark Souls rulebook, there's a lot of like italicized boxes and paragraphs, and it's not that clear really at all how it's supposed to be. And it's good they acknowledge that, and they didn't try to be like, oh, you know, well, it's we just did it for this way or whatever the reason is. I don't know. Ask the Zomba about that, because we're gonna have a story about him later.
Oh my God, do we?
But
we have so many stories about him.
But great. They did such a good job of listening to the feedback of the fans, of people online, and they took it as very constructive criticism. Even the people that were very, obviously, neckbeards that are just like rude and everything. You did come back at a great time.
Yeah.
So Resident Evil 2 board game coming up on Forge Games in January. Looking very forward to it. Other games that have bad rulebooks, apparently Transformers the card game.
So should I tell a story about this?
Yeah, no, this is too good. This is
such a good story, because this is the quintessential our friend Dan the Zomba story.
This is how good stories start. Our friend Dan.
Our friend Dan. Anytime you hear that, it's
grab your popcorn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our friend Dan, huge Transformers fan. Like, he's a blind fan, meaning you could put a piece of poo and call it, like Poopatron, and he'd be like, that's the best Transformer ever. Like, that's how deep he is. Like, it's blind. He's just a blind Transformers fan. Well, is it Wizard of the Coast that made the game?
Yes.
Okay. So Wizard of the Coast made a Transformers card game, dueling card game. And of course, our friend Dan, he probably wouldn't have left Philadelphia unless he played Transformers the card game. That's how serious this was. And sure enough, on the first day he had a Blood Bowl tournament. Blood Bowl is fake nerd football for board gamers.
That's what someone who doesn't understand Blood Bowl would say.
Anyway, so Saturday he was all in to getting down with his Transformer self. So he sat down with our friend Chris and demoed the card game. And if you've never been to a board game convention, when there's a demo table, there is the product that they're demoing is a demo version. It's typically not, or it's a demo scenario. It's not the actual game. No. Like, you're not really playing the actual game.
It's sometimes about 2 to 3 rounds or turns. That's it.
And how they demo it is there's a representative. There's a representative there guiding you along the demo. So you could really get a feel for the game. You can ask questions about what their thought process is behind the game, or how what different things the board game can offer. It's partially sales. The other part is just to you don't have to spend half an hour with your nose in the rule book, because you have basically an organic rule book sitting next to you to help you play the game for the first time.
Yeah.
So sure enough, Dan and Chris sit at this table. There's a fine gentleman sitting next to Dan who's facilitating the game, and and from here it's hearsay, but I'm pretty sure I know how this went down. Because I know my friend Dan so well.
Yeah.
So Dan and Chris start playing, and we leave them because they're in the middle of their card game. They're going to go through a full game, which was nice. And from the words of from the tellings of our friend Chris, so they're in the middle of the game, and our friend Dan basically says, this is a really great game. Hold on, I have to do a real Dan voice. So, this is a really great game, but the rule book is complete trash. I don't know why you would just say that out loud at the demo table, which is already you turn your head to the side and say, huh? But the guy running the demo responds, I wrote the rule book.
So
our friend Dan basically said to the sole writer of the rule book, I hate your product. Basically, you don't know how to write.
Well, mostly.
And then here is the kicker of the story, because this is the part you cannot believe. Because Dan will tell you after this point, oh, well, the guy agreed with me. He saw my points and agreed with me. For those that have never argued or talked to Dan, no, that has never happened before, ever. When ever, when Dan has stated an argument starting with, well, the rule book is real trash. Was it real trash, or it was written real bad? I can't remember the exact phrasing, but these are all synonyms of what Dan would have said.
He was complaining about, he goes, the rule book is pretty bad at explaining certain things.
But that's not how he said it, though.
Well, but I will give Dan credit. He did not back down.
No. No, he did not back down.
There's a lot of people who will say something, and then when they're complaining about something, the person who did it is there unbeknownst to them. They will back down. Well,
Lord Denkerton, I wouldn't even say balls to the wall. I think if you were a blackjack player, you saw someone double down. You
saw someone split, double down,
and then re-ante if possible.
Yes, somehow, like he went all out on this.
Now,
I don't want to.
Here's the thing. Dan may be right. Dan probably has a point about the rule book.
Yeah,
that may not be clear.
No,
but there's no doubt in my mind that the guy just agreed with Dan. There's no way that happened.
Here's what Dan said. Dan
it's not a place of confidence.
Dan didn't say he agreed with me. Dan said he basically agreed with me because he couldn't come up with more excuses after telling him what was wrong about it. So basically he agreed with me. Like he had no choice but to agree with me because I was right. Now look,
again,
like Andrew said,
I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it.
I think maybe the guy got maybe like a little bit of shit after. Wow, Andrew, do you need another bottle, or you're good for now?
I'm good, man.
Are you sure?
I'm out.
All right, if you say so. You could probably get someone to deliver you another bottle. It's New York.
I could, New York City.
Definitely, I can see. Dan being right about the problems with it, because we were just talking about Dark Souls, and the guy's like, oh no, there's definitely problems with it. He didn't write the book on it like this other guy, but he said no, there's definitely a bunch of problems with it. And there's a lot of board games that come with rule books where I'm going to say 9 times out of 10 no, that's 11 out of 10 of terrible.
If you
9 times out of 10,
If you
there's
don't
going to
know the
be.
myth about myth,
Go to our
the
YouTube.
rule book is unplayable.
Go to our YouTube channel and look up myth. And I try to explain the rules that are horrible.
Rocket Bunny.
Your daughter's here.
I'm out of booze. I'm out, Rocket Bunny.
Show her what you just finished. Look at that. Aren't you proud? Aren't you a proud daughter?
I'm coming to your recital.
Hold on.
Hold on. Where's the bathroom? Don't worry about it. I'll just use this corner.
I'm so proud of you. Bad dad.
Where were we?
We're talking about Dan.
It's not. I'm not arguing with the argument that Dan was making.
In fact, this is one of the things where Dan is probably right about it.
I'm not. I don't doubt it.
But it's how he went about it.
But how Dan goes about things is, and someone said confidence before. It's not confident. It's when Dan gets onto an argument, there's a blind disregard to what anybody else is saying in the conversation. And the only reason why I say that is because we will tell another story about Dan about like 2 seconds later, and you'll understand why I just said that statement. So anyway, he basically tells the writer of the rule book that his work is awful. Supposedly, he had no choice to agree but to agree with him.
And then everyone started clapping.
And there was a round of applause. I wish. If there was a round of applause, I would have died.
So good.
So here's the other damn story we have, because it's related to another game that we played. We didn't play Transformers, the card game, but if you're a deck builder person, supposedly it's a pretty good game, according to Dan DeZamba, rules lawyer extraordinaire.
Definitely someone would.
So the next conversation we have is about a game that we tried at PAX called Fireball Island.
Awesome game.
For those that don't know, Fireball Island was a board game back in the 90s. And the best way I can describe Fireball Island is if you were the cool kid in your neighborhood, you had Fireball Island. It was the next iteration of coolness, as far as like you had Mousetrap, because everybody loved Mousetrap.
Oh god, yeah.
But if you were cooler than Mousetrap kid, you were Fireball Island kid.
If you had no friends and got Fireball Island, you were the most popular kid on the school. The most popular kid, without a doubt.
It was that prominent of a game back in the 90s.
Very very few games were cooler or as cool. Crossfire was one of them. That was super cool.
But Crossfire
Fireball
was
Island.
more common. I feel like more kids had Crossfire, which is strange because Crossfire is like a gigantic game. But Fireball Island, for whatever reason, it was so rare even back then. Mm-hmm. Anyway, circa 2018, circa 1866, they re-released Fireball Island on the Nita, Pinta, and Santa Maria. That's how I know my history. No, 2018. I can't remember the guy's name, but he bought the rights for Fireball Island and decided to re-release the game with updated rules, brand new miniatures, brand new mechanics, and it is a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
It is just as fun as when I played it when I was a kid.
It is fun.
It's just that good.
It is quick, and it is a delight. Throwing marbles.
The game. So the average game, it's a kind of a spread. There's a big standard deviation here, but they typically range from 20 to 40 minutes, and that's a 4-player game.
Mm-hmm. Ours
and
was
that's
about 20. Most of it was about 30 minutes.
We were closer to the quicker side, just because we initiated endgame rather quickly.
Yeah, even though Andrew had like a 5-minute turn for some reason.
I did?
I think there was one turn where you took a little while, but there was another turn where Jeff was... he was like confounded on what exactly he should do. Like,
oh yeah,
like the fate of the United States depends on this one.
I mean, we had many highlights during the game.
Yes.
So our friend Jeff, who is he is by far the
biggest cheater.
Best. He is the best person to play board games / tabletop games with, because he just has a propensity to fail at such epic proportions with simple tasks. And this is not a knock against him. It is truly, I love playing with him because I know something's going to go wrong.
He failed so bad at Fireball Island that he won.
It makes no sense. So part of Fireball Island is, if I can describe it, there is a component where you throw marbles into this giant funnel at the top of the game board, and whoever you hit with the fireball, the marble as it goes down the chutes, gives you treasure. And the game board itself is 3-dimensional. It has height, width, and length. It is a really cool game board. And it has all these channels for which the marble can hit, and it's random, and it's a lot of fun. So all you have to do to initiate said fireball action is to drop said marble into the top of the funnel. There's a hole. Just drop it in, nice and easy. You don't have to slam it in. You don't have to throw it in. It's just a nice little drop. Our friend Jeff missed the hole. missed the hole.
He missed the stationary hole that you drop a marble into.
How? I wish that was the end. I wish that was the only blunder we saw.
No.
So the other portion of the game is there's some dexterity involved too. So there's other marbles around the board where if you draw a certain card, you can use your finger to just tip or flick the marble to whatever direction you want to try to hit another player. Our friend, I will preface this. This is not like you don't have to give it that much force.
No.
This is just a nice little nudge, and it'll go in any direction. I wish Jeff missed completely. I wish he just missed the marble completely, but no. He hit the marble, but he hit the marbles in such a way where it didn't leave the pedestal that it was sitting on.
It didn't go anywhere.
It didn't go anywhere. And he hit it. He gave it a hit. It went, and it went back. Amazing.
It was so sad. And at the beginning of the game, he flicked the marble
game
off
is made for small children.
Yeah. But at the beginning of the game, he flicked one off of the table even.
Yeah.
So he flicked one off the table, flicked one and it couldn't move, and missed the stationary hole to drop a marble in.
That's why I love playing this game.
And he still won.
Then he still won.
Why?
Because the gods hate us. But anyway, Fireball Island, really, really fun game.
Do you remember the point of the story?
Yes, I'm going to get back to Dan.
Okay.
Because Dan's part of the story is even better.
Mm-hmm.
This is turned to the Dan shitting hour, which is fine. He deserves it. So anyway, Fireball Island, really great game to pick up for your friends. And even the little guys, even the tykes will have a lot of fun with this game. It's very interactive. It keeps your attention. Even Mike paid attention.
That's rare. I've been
rare.
Not paying attention to this podcast.
He hasn't. Ever since I started talking, he's been OTL. If you're part of the texting crew.
Over the loom.
Over the loom. You nailed it. A lot of fun. Definitely a good family Christmas gift if you're looking for something that you're not quite sure what to get for the little ones and the entire family. Anywho, so of course Dan kickstarted this game because he loves fire. He loved the original Fireball Island, and there's an expansion already out that introduces these cards that are called injury cards. You don't need to know anything about the injury cards. This has nothing to do with injury cards. Point is, Dan did not understand how the rules were written for these injury cards. That's all you need to know. That's fine. I don't get every rule I read either. So, should I tell why he didn't ask the first time, or should I tell the story about what happened at the diner?
At the diner.
Okay, so we went to the diner Saturday night for dinner, and we're discussing Fireball Island, like how we had such a good time. We played the game. We thought it was a really good game. And Dan goes on about these injury cards. And Dan says, I really like the game too, but I don't understand the point of the injury cards. And I go, oh, that's understand. What's the problem with them? Oh, well, they don't explain exactly what they do, and I just don't understand why you would implement them in the game. I go, you should just go up and ask them. There's probably, maybe they just wrote maybe they're missing something about the rules. Maybe there's someone there that knows the rules. No, I don't think that's it. But I definitely think I should go and, ask the question about if there's a problem with the rules. Yeah, Dan. I agree. I think you should go and ask if there's a problem with the rules. There may be a problem with the rules. No. I think there's just a problem with the rule. And this is literally what he's been saying to me.
The lingo wasn't that similar, but it was the same thing.
Yeah.
Like Andrew's saying, I think they wrote down the rules wrong.
Yeah.
And Dan's like, no, you were like, it's a misinterpretation. And Dan's saying, I think they did the rules wrong.
Yeah. And I said, no, Dan, I agree. There's just a problem with the rules. He kept on disagreeing with me. And I said, Dan, we are saying the same exact thing. I'm not talking to you anymore.
It was just like...
But that's our Dan DeZamba story.
And why?
That's what we have.
Why didn't he ask?
Oh my God.
The woman. So me and Dan went there.
This is gonna blow up our Facebook message chain. But so in Dan's world. So the reason why he didn't ask the person at the Fireball Island station about the rules is because the person was having trouble with the credit card machine when he... That's it. That's all I got. His rationale was, well, they probably don't know if they can't figure out the credit card machine.
Like those are two mutually exclusive.
Because one led to the other.
Anyway, it was... And he said, like, the tables were full. And he was making excuses at that time.
Yeah.
But anyway, great. So it's Sunday, right? It's the last day.
Yeah.
And we go, oh, did you get your clarification, Dan? Because we were joking clarification, whatever. He laughed at it, too. And he goes, no, they're all busy. They probably don't know the rules anyway. And I just walk over.
Of course. I just ask, the people at the booth for Fireball Island probably don't know the rules
of the game
anyway.
And look, I will say there probably are maybe one or two people that don't know the rules where they're just there to help out and they don't know like the full clarifications on anything. So I walk up to the woman and I say, do you know how to use a credit card machine? And then I didn't say that.
I wish. But that's what I'm going to preface everything now. If I'm going to ask a question to somebody, I'm going to preface it with, do you know how to use a credit card machine?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, I'm going to say, well, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about then.
You don't know what you're talking about. Give me the other bartender to get me a drink. All right. If you don't know how to use a credit card machine. So I go and Dan walks over and the woman answers the question, what it is. Or she goes over, like she says what the rule is. And for some reason I can't find it online. But the rule was like, when a player goes down, instead of losing a treasure, they may instead put an injury card in front of them. Right? That's pretty much how it was specifically written down. And she's reading this, and I'm like, that's pretty obvious what it is. And Dan goes, because I don't understand why you would want to put that in front of somebody else instead of why you would want to put that in front of yourself instead of taking the treasure. Right? So I think maybe Dan misunderstood or needed the clarification. I think he thought it said when a player goes down, instead of taking one of their treasures, you may put an injury card in front of you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what he thought. You know, whatever.
Yes, that was his argument. So it ended up that there wasn't even a problem with the rules.
No, the rules were clear. He just pulled a Gingrasso and just read them completely wrong.
He pulled a U.
He pulled
and decided to make up the rules.
No, not make up a rule. Just not know how to read.
That too.
Because people think I cheat at games. I just don't know. I just don't know how to read, and it just happens to work in my favor.
No, you cheat at games differently. I won't. We can go into this into a different time. Look, but Mike absolutely cheats at games.
I do not.
And it's not about the interpretation of rules. Mike is a rules omitter. He doesn't
I didn't read the rules.
No. You read the rules because you exploited the rules for your own win. That's how we know you.
What do you mean you can confirm? Wait, no, wait.
That's what you do.
No,
so Mike will read the rules to a game,
read.
And you'll ask a question in the middle of the game about a rule that could possibly benefit you, and Mike will be like, "Oh, I don't know about that." And then, like 2 seconds later, he will do the same exact thing to win the game. And he goes, "Oh, well, it was in the rules." Yes.
What do you mean yes?
No. Yes.
We never even played the game.
Tori knows exactly what I'm talking about.
The only game that we played together is Carmen Sandiego and Bob
Somehow
Ross.
You get rules amnesia when it pertains to everybody else. But when it comes to you, suddenly, light bulb. Oh, that's how the rule works. It happens all the time. All the time.
No, it didn't. That was a different game.
She even named the game. That
was like the first time we were playing and we were trying to figure out the rules, and it didn't like benefit the whole.
No, I'm pretty sure you figured out the rules.
Fog of Love isn't a competitive game. It's like a weird cooperative competitive game. It's oh my god.
Come on, there it is. It's okay, Mike. It's okay, Mike. At least I know how you cheat. So now when I'm playing a game with you, I know what to look out for. I know that turning point where you have a decision between telling us how the game is played, and it could potentially benefit when you're asking, opposed to when you're asking a rule that has no bearing on the score of a game. So I have to ask these rules before it gets to that point, and then you'll know the rule. Otherwise, I'm not getting the rule, or I forgot, or I didn't read that part of the rule book.
You know what? Maybe the person who wrote the rule book is just really bad at it.
Maybe they don't know how to work a credit card machine.
How to work a credit card machine. Mr. Barberton, hello. Oh, hi, Mr. Barberton. Mr. Netflix, I got a great idea. What is it, Mr. Barberton? What is it? How about this? How about it's like Undercover Boss, where we go around and we're trying to interview people for a job, but the twist is they need to know how to use a credit card machine. What if it's a baseball player, Mr. Barberton? Oh, he needs to know a credit card machine.
It's just that is like either the worst Sean Connery or your best Jesse impression.
First of all, it's Jesse Connery. And I forgot how Mr. Barberton sounds. All right,
I don't think he has a voice.
No, Mr. Barberton, he has a voice.
Default to Jesse. Am I right though? If that was Mike trying to do Sean Connery, that was the worst Sean Connery I've ever heard in my entire life.
It's supposed to be Mr. Barberton.
It's okay. It's fine. I accept it for what it was.
Not all my.
Obviously, you don't know how to use a credit card machine. That's all we know.
I noticed your accent was a little bit off. Do you know how to use a credit card machine? Look, I'm sorry, not all my accents are as good as my Australian one. All right.
Oh my god. Oh, speaking of Australian accents,
segue.
So let's move on to our next game. So, no, Tori, it's fine. It's fine, Tori.
Let's move on to our next game called Koalas.
So, we got a chance to play the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles board game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you're probably asking yourself at home that to the two people that are listening, why would you ever mention Australia? Well, we got to meet one of the game developers, Peter Walsh, and he's an Aussie, and we got to play and we got to sit down and play his game with him, and it was really cool. It's a really fun game, and even though he said it's not a new mechanic, it has by far one of the coolest co-op dice mechanics we have ever seen.
Mm-hmm. It is
we have ever experienced.
Yeah, it was one of the best co-op experiences I probably had with a board game. Where one of the best examples that I could think of was just like, okay, thanks, Tawi.
Okay, bye.
Bye. So a lot of cooperative games, such as Gloomhaven, and whatever other games, like who knows, we'll just name whatever. A lot of them are just like it's a cooperative game, but you can't have strategy or talk or plan things out. Like you could say, I'm gonna try to heal you next turn, but you can't say you should do this because if you do this before I do, I can heal for 7. My initiative is going to be this. We could do this and this. You can't do that in those games. In this one, it understands that it's a cooperative game, and so it encourages you to talk to other players, say exactly what you guys can do, and the dice mechanic that they have is fantastic. So each character has...
It lends to those things. It lends to communication.
So you have 3 character dice that you roll, and each character has pretty much the same dice except for one symbol, which is like a double move, a double attack, or double whatever else. You know, it's a special symbol just for them. Mm-hmm. So you roll your 3 dice, and the way you position your dice after you roll them impacts how other people play the game. So I was Michelangelo, Donatello was to my left, and Slash was to my right. And you put your 3 dice in the middle, like this. So which the audio people can see very well.
Yeah, it's a great visual for the audio people.
So
basically, Mike is lining up the dice in front of him in a very particular order
with magic.
And the reason why is because
it's magic.
Go ahead, Mike.
So you get the effects of all your dice. The middle one is the one only you get the effect for. The dice on the left that you put, the player to your left gets that effect. The dice to the right that you put, the player to your right gets that effect too. So you put out your dice, and the players to your left and your right, they put out their dice, and you say, okay, Slash, you are kind of in a bad position right now. You didn't get a lot of movement. I rolled a double move with Michelangelo. I'm going to put my double move dice over here to the right so you get the double move. And then he would say, oh, well, I think that maybe you could use some attack more, so let me put my attack dice there. You try to plan it out with Donatello, as well as just all the other players that are playing the game.
And this is happening all around the table. So you can imagine that, you're always interacting with the player to your right and to your left, mm-hmm. and the entire table.
Yeah.
So there's this phase where you're really trying to plan out who gets what and who needs a certain aspect for the next round.
You don't have this.
It's just really cool to think that, the die that you roll are shared.
Yeah. And you're
based on your position.
You're helping your teammates out before your turns even begin. And that's really cool. You're discussing exactly what you need, and it's a full cooperative strategy game. Now, the initiative, it's a blind initiative system where every monster or group of enemies and every player has a card. You shuffle the little deck, and then you take the top card off, and whoever's card that is, that's their turn. So you can plan things out, but you're not necessarily going to go in the order that you want.
Right.
And that's something that you plan for.
I think after playing it, Mike, I think that's why they allow for that communication, because you can try and plan it out as much as you can, but at the end of the day, you don't know when your turn happens in relation to the enemies. So therefore, you can't plan for every contingency. No. You can just plan for what puts you in the best position as far as what you can do during your turn. And that's why you negotiate with the die, and you negotiate like, well, if you're first, you should do this. If you're not, you should do this.
And then you might say, we don't know the order, so let's just play it safe, like this and this way too.
Right. And I think that's a really, really, really interesting mechanic. I thought it was really. I went into it thinking like, oh well, this is a Teenage Mutant. I just went into it thinking like, oh, I'm going to play a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. I'm going to play a themed game. But after playing the mechanic and how it works, I really like the mechanic.
Yeah.
Like I really, really seriously love the mechanic. And after talking to the developer, like you can see why they really thought it out. They really thought out like, what kind of experience do you want to give people that are playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? You want to play this really, really cooperative, tight-knit team battle. Just like what you would see in the cartoon, right? Or the comic. You got it with the game. And I thought it was really, really.
Yeah. It is definitely one of the best co-op experiences that I have had. One of the best mechanics. And it was really fun. And it's a game where, it might have some like limited playability. We don't know because we didn't see all the types of scenarios and everything else that can happen with it. Mostly saying in contrast to like a Big Trouble Little China game, which was good and bad at the same time. But
we'll talk about that right after.
But one of the contrasts with that is there's not a lot of, what me and Andrew think, different types of games that you can get out of Big Trouble Little China, but with Ninja Turtles, because that's not based on a movie, it's based off of a TV movie comic series. There are so many different scenarios and characters that you can come up with. And again, with the Kickstarter that they did, they were able to get additional expansions out. The game isn't out just yet. And I think they're doing another Kickstarter for it, or they are doing whatever it is. There's
so if you're interested in the property, and if you liked what you heard about the mechanics of the game, I seriously would check it out. I really would. I think it is a worthwhile game to try out if you're into a strong co-op battle board game.
Yeah. There's a lot of property-based board games out there that are disappointing because they prey on people getting nostalgia or just like likeness for that property, and maybe the mechanics of the game are not that great. Two just good examples are Bob Ross and Carmen Sandiego, where the Bob Ross game was really good for what it was with the property. It was very similar to another game. But
it's such a great game.
It was. And, it was something that I think we bought at like Target or something. And so there was the Carmen Sandiego game, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy that too, whatever. It's like $15, $20, whatever. It was not that great.
No.
Like, at all. It was confusing. There wasn't a lot of mechanics, but they just couldn't get the mechanics right. Like, if I saw the person who wrote the rule book, I'd ask them, do you know how to use a credit card machine? And why did you write this rule book the way it is? I don't know.
So as you can tell, that's a running joke.
Yes.
Now, from now on,
it's a running joke, like runny eggs.
Like,
I don't know. But with this one, and going back to just Big Trouble in Little China, which maybe we're gonna have to split PAX up into two different shows. Like maybe do one on Thursday. Who knows?
You know what? I'm not surprised.
Big Trouble it's a great looking board. It's a really fun looking game at first. There's a ton of components. Like they tried to make this game like a role playing game or like I don't know, one of those in depth type of games. And the whole point of the game, from what we understand, is on the front side of the board, it's you're trying to just go and complete missions, side missions, and find Lopan. And once one of the meters on the side of the board, once one of them gets to the middle, then you just flip the board over and you fight Lopan. And whatever upgrades and everything you're able to do in the other side of the board, that's what you're bringing to battle. And that sounds like it's it. Really.
But here's the comment I want to make about it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad mechanic. I don't think they designed a bad board game.
No.
I personally have a problem with the price that they're charging for that game.
Yeah.
And that's what really gets me, because the board game itself is not that complicated. I mean, no, I should say it is a complicated game. It's not a simple game. I don't think that's a game where you can just pick up and play. You have to know a certain amount of rules and everything.
Mm-hmm.
However, between the how the game is played, the rules, and sort of the point of the game, because it's not really a campaign game. There's not really that much you can do as far as longevity, as far if you're looking for a continued story. It's not that type of game. It's really a one and done game. Like, you play it once, and then after that round is over, you're pretty much not going to set up another game to play with your friends. You're just gonna stop.
You might get like 2 or 3 more games out, but at least from what I saw, the size of the decks and everything, after like the 3rd or 4th time, I think it's just going to lose its flavor, especially for like $100 price tag.
And that's the problem. It's $100.
Yeah.
We saw a game. We'll talk about it next time, but I will just briefly say it's basically a D&D tabletop game, and it's not made by Wizards of the Coast, but it is a D&D type game with multiple missions, stories, yada yada yada, and all in, you're in for $64-$70. And this game has a lot of replay value, like a lot. You will definitely get 10 plus hours of gameplay out of this with a dedicated group.
Yeah.
For me to drop $100, you need to be very impressive. You need to show me what that $100 is going to. It could be going to minis.
Yeah.
It could be going to longevity. It could be going to just a really good mechanic, like Fortune and Glory. But Big Trouble in Little China, I knew exactly where that $100 is going, and that was the problem. That $100 was going to this company to repay what they had to pay for the property rights to use Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
That's all you're paying for. You're paying for a franchise. You're paying what the board game company paid to get that franchise.
Yeah.
And frankly, that doesn't interest me. It really doesn't.
Like Dark Souls, you're paying for the cost of the franchise thing too, but like, because it's like, I'm looking at Amazon, it's $100. The thing base price right now, it says it's down from $160. It's somewhere between like $150.
It's going to have to drop again for them to sell it. I hate to say it.
It is.
And they're going to lose money on the game. I hate to say that too.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to make money on it.
But it's very impressive.
I will say this though. I don't want to knock the game company, because Mike didn't play it, but there was another game that they did release not release, but they did demo or show you their newest game that was coming out. And it was called Coma Ward. For those that like Betrayal on the House of the Hill, but they want a little bit more variety as far as how the haunt system works. So the haunt, if you don't know Betrayal of the House on the Hill, there's a system where somebody eventually becomes the bad guy in the scenario, and then it's everybody versus the bad guy, which is a very fun scenario. It's a very fun mechanic. And there's a lot of scenarios you can play with Betrayal on the House of the Hill, Haunted Hill. I'm butchering the name. Yeah. Everybody knows it as Betrayal on the Hill. Anyway, it's a very fun game. So Coma Ward is very similar, except I will say that the scenarios that they present to the players isn't necessarily a 1v-all. There could be cooperation. There could be a free-for-all. There could be anything. And it's a very mature game, and I say that because the themes that they deal with are very mature. Like it deals with mental illness. It deals with serious addiction. It deals with serious murder. It's a very it has very heavy topics, so it's not a kids game.
No.
However, it's a really, really cool game. It's a very Very, very interesting game.
Did you happen to get the price for that one?
That, believe it or not, that was a $60 or $70 game with expansions that you can possibly get. But the core set definitely had, I think it was like 13 scenarios that you can play through, and they're very unique. And it's one of those games where, what was that time game that we played? Time. Oh shit.
We played it at PAX.
No. We played it with Jeff. The time.
Oh,
Time Stories.
I didn't.
Time Stories.
You guys did. Yeah.
But that's the name, right? Time Stories or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Time Stories where you have these sealed scenarios. So once you play the scenario, you know the scenario. There's no going back. But the scenario that you do have these 13 unique scenarios that you can play through with people. And I guess there's some replay value if you play with like new people that have never played with it before.
Yeah, but playing the game 13 times also, that's a lot of value.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's a lot. We didn't even get through the entire scenario. No. We just got up to the point where you open up the pack for your scenario. It's a very cool game.
That's cool.
So just to because I don't want to knock the developer, because they do have good games. Just Big Trouble in Little China is not. I think you're not getting what you're paying for.
I think that's the big thing. It's not a bad game. It's a good game. It's just not worth the money.
Yeah, and that's a tough pill to swallow. $100 is tough to drop on a game.
Yes,
it really is. $70 is tough to drop on a game. But if you're going to drop that money, you want to know there's some longevity to your product. I'm not going to jump. I'm not dropping $100 on a game that is one or two playthroughs. That's stupid.
Yeah,
that's really dumb. There's so many other games that you could pay $100 for and get just tons of stuff for.
Yeah,
I mean, look at Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven, I think it's still coming down now. It's like $130. But I will tell you this, people. Gloomhaven is easily more than 20 hours of gameplay.
No, yeah, way more.
Easy. Easy.
They put a lot of hard work, thought, and saying that it's a board game.
Oh my God.
Is kind of, it's not a board game. It's a physical D&D campaign.
My fart smelled awful.
Yes, I agree.
This is the only time I wish I was Layla, because she is definitely below the smell altitude.
Well, look at the time.
No, we should talk. We still got
we got
50. We have 15 minutes. I would say.
For what?
Maybe 10.
Before we have to go. Oh, that's perfect time for an outro. I think we should save a couple things to talk about for PAX. We're gonna have to next week, because we have to talk about.
Well, we'll talk about. Let's give a quick preview. We will talk about sword and sorcery.
Mm-hmm.
We will talk about something that we did not talk about tonight, and we have to, and it's called Weave.
Yes,
we must talk about this, because this is possibly the biggest news, or the biggest thing that Mike and I saw at PAX Unplugged that could definitely change the board gaming landscape in the future. So remember that, everybody. Weave. We can talk about the Red Dragon Inn game that I got.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to talk about 2 Rooms and a Boom.
Well, we could just say that we bought 2 Rooms and a Boom. We don't know. We don't know anything about it, but we really should.
But we should talk.
We should.
So that's some of the stuff we're going to talk about next time.
Yeah, along with a couple of games that Jeff brought, and what.
Oh yeah, the games that Jeff brought too.
Yeah,
those were cool.
There's a lot to talk about, and honestly, Sword and Sorcery might open up a topic of, at least what I think might be good, is what we like to see in a demo and what we don't like to see in a demo.
Right.
Because Sword and Sorcery, I don't think did a great job with the demo. We'll talk about that at another time.
But Mike, thank you for watching or listening if you're out there in the interwebs land, the mobile cell phone land. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Toy Rage podcast. It was a little subdued tonight. We're a little tired from the past weekend.
Yeah.
rightfully so. We had a lot of gaming in, not a lot of sleeping.
Yeah,
but
I had a big
we'll
play
recover
too.
for next week.
Yeah.
Social media, we have those, right?
We do. We do.
So if you look, if you're a video watcher, above my head, there's two modes of social media. There's Twitter.com/Toy Rage, which is probably the #1 source for all Toy Rage information and announcements. Below that is Facebook.com/Toy Rage, which is the second most utilized form of social media for Toy Rage news and announcements. To my the right, below Mike, below
me,
below Mike,
below me,
below me, below Mike is Instagram.com/ToyRagerEviews.
Yep.
Or Toy Rage reviews. That is probably the least utilized social media outlet for Toy Rage.
No. Andrew uploaded
pictures.
Andrew uploaded a lot from PAX.
Yeah,
How many pictures did you upload from PAX Unplugged?
Mike, I don't use Instagram. Don't do it.
I know you're not Layla anyway.
I know.
And below that,
below Instagram,
yes,
is YouTube.com/Toy Rage. You can use this to go back into our archives to listen/watch to all of our content from the past year and so months. Yeah. So if you enjoy what you watch and you just can't get enough of this high octane, super informative, well put together formulaic show, go to Utah.
Go to Utah. If you can't get enough of us, go to Utah.
Go to fucking Utah. Become a Mormon. Tell us about Joseph Smith. Then go onto your computer and go to youtube.com/Toy Rage.
You go to your wooden computer.
In a wooden computer. And see some of our past antics and discussions and rants and raves. If you know people that are audio only listeners, or you're audio listening and you want to recommend this to, like, those conversations around the water cooler, like, hey, what podcast you listen to? Oh, I listen to Joe Rogan. I listen to Unexplained. Oh, I listen to Hardcore History.
Whoa.
Oh, I listen to Freakonomics.
But I listen to Toy Rage.
Well, I listen to Toy Rage. It's Toy Rage. Toy Rage is the coolest podcast there ever is.
I like Toy Rage too.
I like the Toy Rages.
Goddamn.
Hey, Michael.
How do you have a job, Clarence?
I don't know, Michael. I just deliver the newspapers inside the office. Anyway, yeah, Clarence is a newspaper delivery boy in an office. There you go.
They don't even have newspapers.
Hey, what's a newspaper? You can find our podcast audio only on iTunes and Spreaker. I'm not even going to list the third one because I don't even know what it is.
I forgot to.
And I think that's about it, Mike. I think
that's it.
I think I got to it all.
We did
in record time, under 15 minutes.
Wow,
that's a record. People, that is a record for me. Sometimes these take a good 10 minutes because I go off on a tangent. I obviously don't know how to. Obviously, I don't know how to use a credit card machine.
He's
because
going on a
I
tangent
can't do outros.
Talking about tangents. It's that bad. Maybe we'll do a show next week. Maybe we should do a show earlier than next week. Maybe we'll do both. Who knows?
Maybes.
Yeah. Maybe. But I know there's one thing we still have to do.
Toy Rage, maybe.
No, we don't.
Hey, I just met you, and you don't. And this is crazy. Do you use a credit card machine now? So Toy Rage, maybe.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But we do need Andrew's words of wisdom.
Bye.